Welcome to the Literary Festival edition of the Alvernia Writer Series. I'm Sharon Neal. It's my privilege to serve as Library Director here at Alvernia, and I'd like to welcome you all to Dr. Tom Borowski's unique forum for self-expression, the Alvernia Writer Series. Here to help me introduce Dr. Tom this year, we have Curtis Datko on guitar, Meryl Levosh on guitar, and Louise Gable on banjo. Join me now on Dr. Tom's Road Less Traveled.
All right. So we're going to do an old folk song about a folk hero. So. Was a little baby right here, sitting on his daddy's knee. He picked up a hammer and a little piece of steel and cried, "This hammer's gonna be dead for me. Lord, Lord, this hammer's gonna be dead for me." Oh, wait, we're singing about the wrong folk hero. Wait, we gotta start over again. Hold on, I'm not singing about John Henry. You know, there are a lot of folk heroes in American history. Can you guys name any? Oh, come on. John Henry.
Paul Bunyan.
Paul Bunyan. Anybody else?
Daniel Boone.
Daniel Boone. Davy Crockett. Johnny Appleseed, right? These are all great American folk heroes, but we're going to talk about a special folk hero today. We're going to talk about that legend in his own mind, Dr. Tom Borowski. So, 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, go. Daddy's knee. He picked up a pencil and a little notepad and said, "This writing's gonna be the life for me. Lord, Lord, this writing's gonna be the life for me." When Borowski was a little older, he read him some Kerouac. Said, "I wanna travel and ride like Jack. Nothing's gonna keep me back, Lord, Lord, nothing's gonna keep me back." But Borowski was sitting there reading, thinking about what the author said. He took some colored pens and doodled on his book and said, "This writing's sure the life for me. Lord, Lord, this writing's sure the life for me." Borowski, he wrote about Jesus, told the story of the rocket-powered cross. Said, "I'm a one-man show and I gotta let folks know, 'cause this writing's sure the life for me. Lord, Lord, this writing's sure the life for me." When Borowski came to Alvernia, he saw the kids that they didn't know Jack. Kerouac said, "We'll teach them about the beats and what they gotta read, and I'll learn them how to snap for me. Lord, Lord, I'll learn them how to snap for me." When someday Borowski's years are over, he'll look back at the years he lived. He'll say, "I taught him well and there's nothing left to tell, but this writing was a life for me. Lord, Lord, this writing was a life for me. But this writing was a life for me. Lord, Lord, this writing was a life for me."
Fantastic.
library lounge lizards. There's always a day comes in like sort of July, middle of July, when I start smiling for no reason, then I figure out why. It's like, it's only a couple months until I can hear the library lounge lizards do their Tom Borowski song parody kind of a thing. That blows my cabbage back. Welcome to the Alvernia Writers Series, the Lit Fest edition. We have about an hour of reading and music and tomfoolery for you today. And this is a part of the Music Fest very dear to my heart. It's where the writers who are among us, to quote a Joni Mitchell lyric, they play and read real good for free. So we want to thank you for your presence here and your support. Now we're going to hear from Dr. Nathan Thomas, please.
Thank you, Dr. B. It was a wild summer. When teachers gather together after summer break, after a lifetime of assigning essays about summer vacation, they talk about what I did last summer. I hope your summer included quiet moments at the beach or in the mountains or in your favorite spot. I hope your summer included a few sweet snoozes and maybe some snogging with a sweetie. My summer was typified by a night in which my beautiful daughter was visited by the dark angel of projectile vomit that made Sir Ian Holmes' explosive scene in Alien look mild by comparison. By the time we got my daughter and her bed cleaned up and calmed down, it was far into the early morning. A couple of hours later, I was awakened with a sprightly, "Honey, there's a bird in the house. Can you take care of it?" So memories were formed, as they say. Once again, we're in the midst of the heady season of presidential ambition. Friends, let's face it, normal people don't want to be president of the United States. They don't have the capacity to be president of the United States. It's an impossible job guaranteed to piss off people. One of the regular features of this season, of course, is the daily reading of polls, the numbers. And here I need to apologize in advance to many good friends and family members who are members of the baby boom generation. I love all of you. I do. You didn't give us Coca-Cola, that's from the late 19th and early 20th century, but you did give us the real thing. You fought both in and against a war in Southeast Asia. You helped the equal rights movement, and you also helped elect Ronald Reagan twice. Not long ago, there was a discussion in the New York Times opinion pages about the boomers. That discussion centered on whether or not the boomers were selfish and acquisitive. I leave such distinctions to others. My problem with the boomers is the love of numbers, of the data. One of the mantras I've been hearing lately is the phrase, meaningful data. Show me the numbers, says the boomer. Now that same person will gleefully repeat the Twain quote about lies, damn lies, and statistics. That person knows how easy it is to juke the stats, yet our society has been hornswoggled into believing that the numbers have existential meaning. The acme of this belief is the great No Child Left Behind scheme that relies on nothing but questionable quantification and bequeathed to a grateful nation by boomer President George W. Bush. Lest I be misunderstood, I am not arguing against science or the best of the Enlightenment. One of the great achievements that came out of the Enlightenment was the notion that we could know an orderly universe that obeys orderly laws. By the time of the 20th century, our culture relied even more heavily on knowing things by the quantifiable evidence of experiment and the development of technologies that resulted from the quantifiable way of knowing physical laws. But quantification found its way into the social science as well. And the certainty of the numbers provided by scientific thinking allowed businesses to borrow the techniques of the social sciences in turn and grow commerce via evidence-based planning. Given that business had previously reached limits of build it and we'll see if they come, to throw it against the wall and see if it sticks planning, The quantification of evidence-based development, marketing, sales suggested that most what's necessary to know comes out of the numbers. A moment's reflection allows most of us to realize that quantification does not encompass knowing. There are multiple ways of knowing things and expressing things. If this were not true, there would be no arts. There are things we know that are not quantifiable and not mere opinion. And that's the fallacy of the boomers. For example, polls existed before the boomers and will exist long into the future, but it was the boomer journalists who turned polls into thinking they meant something more than what they mean. And this realization brings us to our first main point. There are many ways to know things, and when it comes to human behavior, we learn things in ways other than quantifiable studies. We can learn from the arts, for example. Come this spring, I'll have the honor of taking on Lear. I've started my preparation even now. There's no easy way to encompass the entirety of the work. It takes effort. We also know that the easily won prize means less to us than the one that comes at the end of the struggle. In the end, it's not the prize. It was the struggle that gives us meaning, and that's the point of things. The problem is, in a sense, the arts are impractical. But remember this truth: a necessary thing need not also be practical. We forget this truth at our peril. If our chief concern is but to feed and keep the rain from our heads, we should probably give up very much in our lives. But what makes us human is the need to follow our Creator by being creative ourselves and reach out to other humans with our thoughts, our feelings, our hearts, our minds, our souls, to give expression to the idea that here's how I see this world, how I hear this world, how the world moves beneath my legs and arms, and the stories that make the world a place for all that is human. The undiscovered country is the unfathomed and unfathomable totality of human experience. It is necessary to boldly explore that terra incognita every day with every ounce of creative energy. An old man in an old play says, "O reason not the need. Our basest beggars are in the poorest things superfluous. Allow not nature more than nature needs. Man's life is as cheap as beasts." So I hope you had a restful summer. Summer's good for resting in the shade. Now summer is fading, and we need to settle down and start to study winter. And I'm not suggesting that I want my beautiful daughter to ever vomit ever again. But that being said, it's the struggles of life that makes it live. Thank you.
Thank you, Nate. Now we're here for Ryan Hupo, please.
How's it going, everybody? I'm going to be a little bit long-winded, so bear with me. I called this one politics. Stool, feces, excrement. No matter what they call it, it's all the same shit. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Okay, fantastic. Andrew Calvert, please. Front center.
How do you follow that? Like, really? Koopa, you killed me on that one. That was beautiful. I had 2 poems today. I'm currently working on a giant painting in my basement, which is 6 feet long and 4 feet high. And what I'm doing right now is, if anybody knows who Cy Twombly is, yeah, Dr. Tom. He did this thing where he took like classical literature and just basically wrote out different parts of it in huge panels, and it's beautiful. So I went to the Film Museum, saw that, and I'm like, I need to do this with something. So I looked around and I'm like, Ginsberg's Howl. It's a beautiful piece of literature, poetry, and it needs to be put into art, so I'm working on it now. But the background, sorry I'm explaining here, what I'm doing is writing out the entire poem on the background of the painting. So it's taking a while to do that, and I feel like the character in the movie that's like Beautiful Mind, I'm thinking he's like writing all over the place. I'm like doing this at night, and I'm like, I'm gonna go crazy by the time this is done. So this is my little poem to Mr. Ginsberg, which is untitled right now. I apologize. Boxcars. All I'm writing about is boxcars, boxcars, boxcars in Kansas. Why, dear Mr. Ginsberg, I do believe you're off your rocker. Yes, the lights are in my eyes, and the smell of paints is making me sneeze. About all I do think of is jazz, jazz, and boxcars. All I think is what you'd think of the angel-headed hipsters now, with jeans so tight and minds much tighter. Oh, Alan, all I can paint is your effigy like I did years ago, myself looking for an angry fix. But now it's just about the others, who tell me my idea is foolish, too much like Twombly and not enough like Ginsberg, who drink and smoke and drink always from the same bowl, who graduate with psychology and Plato and attitude and narcissism, and stand on the stage, diploma in hand, asking for jobs and change in jobs and jobs, who howled during finals week in the library with endless coffee and Red Bulls, who journeyed to Reading just for service hours, scared of the ethics of the street at twilight, running from pagodas in silence. But you, Mr. Ginsberg, just wrote and cried and howled, and this painting is for you. And that's that one. So if you've read Howl before, you get like the who parts. I don't know, it was kind of fun. Big paper too. You're writing poetry, you need big paper. It's awesome. In my room, there's just stretches of big paper. Kerouac had something going, man. This one I wrote over the summer. Typewriters too. Big papers and typewriters, man. Awesome. This one is called Homeless and Hungry, Reflections on Being an English Major. Am I the only one with sanguine tastes? Slow down. Call me Bacchus. Burn my effigy. Am I to believe I trod and tread new soils, or reaping unclaimed soils of those who fed the soil before me? Who am I to believe in such truths, such factoids of falsehoods and slaps to my face? Talk to the bum on the corner. He'll tell you how he fed and wrote and read on sanguinity and language. Call me more, but I'm just a mirror of that man, led towards humility and street corners by my own words. The same words of empathy and apathy condemn the life of one like me, push me towards the wall and to my knees, crying out for sanity. I search for answers on park benches, and parked cars, only to lead me to sit on more unconventional seats. Our legs grow tired, and so do we, which is why we've come to drink from all these wells of conformity. This is not to say stand up or stop drinking from these wells, because such symbolism can be bullshit anyways. This is only to say understand and love why you sit or why you drink, and why you don't embrace the more conventional seats of man. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. And now we'll hear from Ashley Jones, please.
I'm short. My name is Ashley, and I'm a criminal justice major, and I like crime. Crime is very interesting, and I find writing from the criminal's point of view, it's different. So my first one I've written is inspired by a true serial killer from the 1920s. He was a child molester / child murderer, and he looked like he could be your next door neighbor. He looked like he could be your grandfather, which is very scary. Children are tasty. Their innocent flesh and playful manner set my desire aflame. My taste was for young boys and men, but society shines down on two males sharing a lustful relationship. The year is 1920, and it's the 3rd day of June in the busy city of Philadelphia. The temperature was high, and I sat by the window of my apartment. It was the 2nd floor of a 5-story building. I stared down at the children who were playing in the water from the hydrant. The little boys, water dripping from their bodies as they ran through the waves, spilling into the concrete, caught my eye. I love children. The smell of their hair, their naive thoughts, and their childish screams rang in my ears. When I took their innocence and eventually their lives, children are tasty. I thought about my first kill. It was 8 years ago. His name was Peter. He had dark hair and dark eyes, fair skin, and he was 10. His cries still linger in my thoughts as I tasted his blood on the tips of my fingers. And my second piece, another serial killer. He was actually into collecting different types of people. They say never settle for anything less than butterflies, and this is true. Butterflies are seen as little messengers sent from God that carry secrets in their wings. Little angels sent from above who dance on the clouds and float above the land. We try to capture these magical creatures of beauty in glass jars so we keep them forever. But sadly, the magic dies, and our beautiful little prisoner is lifeless at the bottom of the jar. We dispose of the little carcass like it never mattered to us, because the beauty and magic has abandoned us. All hope is lost until we chase after another butterfly, dancing in the wind. Many people have hobbies, or even some form of entertainment. I am a collector, but I am not your average hoarding fiend, or some geek with a display of stamps. I collect women. Women are creatures of beauty who overall amaze me. I have spent countless moments completing my search to capture these creatures I call butterflies. Every man remembers his first achieving of an erection, his first time inside of a woman, and ultimately his first kill. All of those moments, your lack of experience is evident, and your performance is sloppy to say the least. My thoughts were frantic, but nothing like reliving the moments through pictures or writings to help me stroll down memory lane. So I created this journal, reading my thoughts and brushing my fingers over their pictures to help the images of years play in my head like a movie. Thank you.
Thank you, Asher. And now I'd like to welcome Indio Ragslice, first-time reader here at the AWS.
How you doing? My name's India. I have two poems. One is from Mom. I'm usually like a slam poet. I write for like a couple years, but never pursued like going further. So I just write for fun now. It's called Ode to Mother. The most beautiful smile is the one that struggles through tears. Mom, your smile is bright enough to illuminate the darkest of days. You make stars seem as if they don't shine. You lighten up my day with just a smirk. It's crazy how much you mean to me. From day one, you had my back, no matter how much I said I hated you. You knew that meant thank you for being tough on me. Every time you yelled at me, every time you smacked me back in the head, I knew that it came from I knew at the end of the day, it came from the heart. You shaped me into the man that I am today. You once said it is okay to cry, because a true man shows his tears and cowards hide them. You were my mommy playing poppy, and you know what? I respect that. You embraced every bad situation and turned it into a positive one. Working graveyard shift just to put bread on the table every night. Every meal was the best because it came from the heart. Your blood, sweat, and tears kept you pushing through the pain. I've never seen someone so strong in my life. Carrying the lives of 4 children on your shoulders sounds so hard, but you made it seem so easy. Thanksgiving, Christmas, and Easter, every holiday was possible because of you. I'm thankful for having such a great role model in my life. You are not perfect, but you're perfect to me. My guardian angel, the wind beneath my wings. You're the reason why I am not afraid to fly so high. You're my ray of sunshine. Mom, this is my ode to you. I thank you for raising me. I am strong because of you. I respect everyone because of you. I love everyone because of you. I walk with my head held up high because of you. I am who I am because of you. You gave me my name, and I shall embrace it and bring respect to it. When people say you remind me of your mother, I take it as the ultimate compliment. Mommy, you mean the world to me, and if I can find any woman that comes close to being half the woman you are, I know that I found the one. And my second one is this is sad because like where I'm from, people die all the time, and like my friends got murdered in like alleyways, like they're found just slaughtered, shot, and stabbed. So this is just something I wrote. What do you see when you see me? Do you see a struggle? Do you see triumph? Or do you just see a college student who dresses nice and puts on a smile whenever somebody walks by? There are days where heaven seems so close, and there are times when there seems to be no hope. Behind these brown eyes lay a grenade of tears ready to explode like water balloons being thrown from children. See, where I'm from, nothing comes good from staying around. Either you end up in jail or you end up in a box. Looking at the faces of heartbroken mothers as they get that devastating phone call of the baby boy being gunned down for being at the wrong place at the wrong time. Denying that that is their child, their flesh and blood crying out, I just seen him this morning, this is impossible. Sitting there speechless, nothing can describe this picture even though they say it's worth 1,000 words. Day after day, mommy is playing daddy, teaching the boy how to be a man. Sometimes it takes a man to teach his son how to be a man. Rule 1, never leave the ones you love for the ones you like. Rule 2, money comes and goes, so don't chase it because it's not wasting time chasing you. Rule 3, take responsibility for your actions. Don't run away when times get hard. If it's hard for you, just imagine how hard it is for us when you're going. My brother, only a couple years ahead of me, was my bodyguard, protecting me against violence that arose amongst us. Gunshots in my lullaby, and police sirens were my alarm clock. Little boys my age traded tricycles for triggers, setting off fireworks every night, and it wasn't even 4th of July. Walking these streets are like walking in hell, never knowing if that step you took could be your last. Looking over your shoulder every second to make sure that people aren't following you. The drug dealers, crackheads, hookers are what rule the night. That woman you see may not be a hooker by choice, but the fact that she can't make money, other way But the fact that she can't make money any other way has forced her to sell her body just to put bread on the table every night. Don't judge the bums on the street. That lady in the cardboard box could be my mother. That girl giving blowjobs for orphans behind the church could be my little sister. That man hanging in the closet could be my father. Ashamed of what he has become and embarrassed of what he failed to do, he did not protect his family when they needed him the most. He didn't raise his son to be the man that he is today, and he left his wife to be a widow, forced to take care of 3 children by herself. May my faith engulf this oppression to ash. May the hands, the breath, the pulse, the feet push forward until every doubter quakes with fear. I will strive to be the best I can. I got myself this far. I'm the product of my past, but I'm not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become.
Hello. I just apologize for my voice. I'm getting a little sick, but I'll get through it. I have a couple little short stories. They're not really poems. They're just kind of quips that I wrote, so I hope you enjoy them. The first one is called A Secret. And so while doing her lover's laundry, she found an old and worn sweater, his favorite to be more precise. It still smelled of his cologne after many tumbles in the wash. With a secret smile, she began to stitch a heart to the inside breast pocket. No one looking on would see it, of course, but she would know that whenever he donned the piece, he would be carrying her heart over his own. This one's called A Declaration. As a beautiful bee danced among the garden, a flower said to the earth, that wretched bee, always keeping me in longing. She comes with her sweet kiss, pulling from me my nectar, and then with the beat of her wings, she leaves me in her wake to long for the next moment she will again visit my petals. Lady Earth, having to constantly hear about this insect's comings and goings, decided she had quite enough. She finally spoke up with her true feelings. The bee flits about as she pleases, taking only what she needs from you and leaving. But I, the soil holding your roots, am the nourishment in your fleeting life. I hold you in my arms and support your stalk, and ask nothing in return but appreciation. The flower paused, feeling a bit like a seedling for not realizing what he had taken for granted. He noted the evanescence of his life and was hastened in his response. Facing his petals downward, he declared, "Why, my dear earth, I do believe you are the love of my life." And I have one more for you. This is called A Lesson. This is my favorite. As she ate her hotcakes with syrup and sprinkles, exactly her favorite, the girl pulled out her crayons and coloring pages and began. When she was good and finished, she showed Mr. Wellington her oversized and overfluffy white cat. He nodded his approval with a swish of his tail. She promptly pinned the piece on the fridge with great inner satisfaction. At exactly that moment, a blur of pink and sparkles rushed into the room. "Mommy," the girl exclaimed, noticing the picture, "what have you done? My teacher says the colors have to stay in the lines." The girl smiled, patted the cat, and lifted her daughter into her arms. "My little one, let me teach you something. Colors know no boundaries, and lines were meant to be crossed." Thank you.
I'm going to share with you something that I've been working on during Creativity Hour on the Mothership the last week or so. And when you see it, you'll realize how silly life can look during Creativity Hour on the Mothership. Trying to figure this out is reminded me that spoken word is often like gymnastics. You got to stick the landing. And I'm not exactly sure how this is going to go. But, you know, what the hell. Kill your TVs before they kill you. Stick your nose in the breeze. Sniff what's coming through. Now is the time. This is the hour to dig a word or nine from a spiritual control tower. Because the pigs have learned to fly and hell's freezing over. Better bless yourself twice, get a four-leaf clover. But if you want to dig on some real power, then peep on this memo, honey, from a spiritual control tower. Because the fat lady singing, you done screwed the pooch, the chickens, the dragons, they've come home to roost. You know it? You did it. Your face is looking dour, better tune the old antenna to a spiritual control tower. Cause your little girl is left, you got beer in your shoes. You put your money down, but you know you're gonna lose. On top of your casket, they're gonna drop a flower. You better listen just this once to a spiritual control tower. So if you don't know where you're going, you're feeling kind of weird, if your life is turning out to be everything you fear, I say, stand up and away from the corner where you cower. Cause you in tune now, baby, with a spiritual control tower. Cause anywhere is nowhere when you're stuck with a high Christ. Who the hell am I? What issue? What type? Well, we hear you loud and clear. And you're free to land in our bower. Cause chill is the word from a spiritual control tower. Nobody's ill. You don't need a pill. It's a thrill. There's no bills. No void to fill. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not kill. I just climbed the hill. I just grabbed the quill. Because there's a story to tell. Be kind. Be kind is the word from a spiritual control tower. Stick the landing. Stick the landing. Stick the landing. That's it. Yeah, so if you call, you give me a call in the evening and I don't pick up, you know what the hell I'm doing. All right. I'd like to invite the Library Lounge Lizards up so we can complete our little hootenanny throwdown today. The Library Lounge Lizards, of course, are Louise Gable on banjo, Sharon Neal on banjo, Miro Liwash on guitar, and Curtis Datko on guitar. Our Oh, and Lucas Blair is here. Fantastic, playing bass. The really cool thing about collegiality from where I'm sitting at this place, this is a great example of it. I can go to Curtis and Sharon et al. And say, I'd like to play a song. And they'll do it. They'll figure it out. This is a song I heard when it came out in the late 70s. It driving us cool high school in Bogey's black Dodge Dart, and he had it on the cassette player, and it moved me. It wasn't the first song that moved me, but it moved me. And I often find myself playing this song on the mothership during creativity hour in the autumn, because it sounds like the end of something.
He's just tuning up.
Okay. It's called Thrasher. Lose your pick?
Yeah, man.
All right.
I got that.
So this has given us an opportunity to, like, I run over here the last week or so, every day at noon or so, and we can run through this tune. It's a nice little break from the pleasure of student advising, which really is a pleasure. I need a preface. Are we on?
Are you using the mic?
No.
Good?
All right, let's try her. They were hiding behind hay bales. They were planting in the full moon. They had given all they had for something new. But the light of day was on them. They could see the thrashers coming, and the water shone like diamonds in the dew. I was just getting up, hit the road before it's light, trying to catch an hour on the sun. When I saw those thrashers rolling by, looking more than 2 lanes wide, I was feeling like my day had just begun. The eagle glides ascending on an ancient river bending through the timeless gorge of changes where sleeplessness awaits. I searched out my companions who were lost in crystal canyons when the aimless blade of science slashed the pearly gates. It was then that I knew I'd had enough, burned my credit card for fuel, headed out to where the pavement turns to sand, with a one-way ticket to the land of truth and my suitcase in my hand. How I lost my friends, I still don't understand. They had the best selection. They were poisoned with protection. There was nothing that they needed, nothing left to find. They were lost in rock formations, or became park bench mutations on the sidewalks and in the Forgot my home road left a hole. Just another line in the field of time. When the thrasher comes, I'll be stuck in the sun like a dinosaur enshrined. But I know the time has come to give what's mine. Hey, thanks a lot. That sounded all right. Thank you. Hey, thank you very much. Short, sweet, and so complete. We came in 15 minutes under budget. That's good. The next Alvernia Writer Series is going to be held on Tuesday evening, November 13th, over in the Crusader Cafe. So, I don't know, if you want to participate or just drop by, please do. And you all come back now here. Have a nice weekend. Thank you.